focus on the connect.
Good afternoon, Lynette Oxley here for Tac SHAC TV, still from a very cold Johannesburg afternoon. We have today we've got Tshepi, a very old friend of mine. She's actually shorter than me, which that doesn't happen often, but she's pure dynamite. And I hope I can call her a pro-gun activist. Welcome, Tshepi.
Thank you so much, Lynette, for having me. It's a real pleasure being here.
That's great. Tell me a little bit about yourself to start off. What do you do and where do you come from?
Well, I'm a Pretoria girl. I am a wife and a mother of two, a boy and a girl. And
it's quite feisty, just like you.
Yes, very feisty, very fast on everything. But I'm a Praetorian. I am. I'm just a simple business owner, you know, love cooking, love being out on the range and things like that.
That's absolutely great. So you break quite a couple of rules, if we want to say that. Being female,
yes.
Being black, liking guns, so you break some stereotypes.
I do, and I think I'm loving breaking that stereotype, you know. It's one of those things where you come out on the forefront and show people that it's something that you can enjoy. It's not something that you should put in the background or be a secret, you know. I love where I'm at. I love being pro-gun. I'm passionate about it. And I just want everybody to join in.
Fantastic. When did you get introduced to guns? I actually do know because I was there, but please tell our viewers about it.
So it was back in 2013. I was invited by a very good friend of ours, Kofu.
Yes.
And I remember firing the weapon for the first time. And that was that. I could not let it go after that. There was a sense of security, a sense of confidence that just overwhelmed me in that moment, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
I actually see you for the first time behind the AK, and because you do love that particular gun, but we'll talk about it a bit later as well. Tell me, what additional training have you done in terms of shooting? Are you involved in sport shooting, and do you think that helps you in general with owning a firearm?
Yes, so I am involved in the sport shooting, and it does help you because there's a lot of discipline that goes into it. You need to know your way around, not only just, you know, it's not about just firing a weapon. It's about being safety conscious. It's about your speed. It's about your accuracy. You know, there is a sense of discipline that comes with it as well, which is very important.
It is important because it's those we actually, as sport shooters, are very, very strict on safety, which is great, and it takes you through on your day-to-day handling weapons as well.
Yes, precisely. I feel it's something that everybody actually should try. Because as I say, there's a lot of discipline that goes into it, and it's a lot of training. It's not a case of what you like to call as women having safe queens, their firearms being safe queens. You get a lot of practice, and it means that should you be in a situation that you know you're quite capable of handling that situation.
Yes, I actually recently, earlier this week, spoke about specifically sport shooting, and it does contribute to being a good self-defense, because at least you know how your weapon works.
Yes.
You can clear stoppages when necessary, and you know which shots you can if you can take the shot or not.
Yes.
What your capabilities are.
Precisely.
You have a husband and children. We spoke about it a bit earlier. How do they feel about firearms in the house?
Well, in my home, it is normal. It's not something out of the ordinary. And we made the conscious decision that it should be something that the whole family should be able to use. So I've brought my daughter to the range a couple of times, and I feel it's important that should I be in a position where I'm unable to defend them, that somebody can actually pick up that very same weapon and defend our family. So it's one of those things. I mean, my husband is not well of guns, you know.
No, he isn't. So you're going to be well, more his first responder
Yes.
than anything else.
Precisely, and he's quite happy.
And I think your daughter will be a second responder
Yes,
after that, if you want to call it that way.
Absolutely.
Because she's quite capable already. And
Yes,
how old is she now?
She's 14. She'll be 15 in August,
Yeah.
and she's actually a brilliant shot.
She is. I have seen her shoot.
Very brilliant. Yes. So she'll be getting into it a lot more now. It's something she enjoys, and also it's a bonding experience between mom and daughter.
It's absolutely fantastic. Your son is, of course, he is now 4 years or 5 years old.
3 years old. Yeah.
He's quite a menace, but hopefully at around 6 you can introduce him to guns as well.
Yes, and hopefully by then we would have calmed him down. And you know, I think it's important because I think once you normalize something, then it stops being a foreign object, or the excitement of it just dissipates a little bit. Absolutely. You know. So I just, in my home, it has to be a normal experience. It has to be that experience where there's a firearm in the home, and so what. Yes. You know,
and that you know how to safely. It's not it's not a toy. It's absolutely.
It's very important. It's not a toy. I mean, even when my daughter is around a firearm, she knows that, you know, safe direction. These certain terms that she's already
finger off the trigger.
Finger off the trigger. You know, you never point at anybody. You all these aspects that have come into my home, and I'm enjoying the experience that the family's having, because ultimately when one person owns a firearm, it's actually a whole family experience.
Absolutely.
So it's brilliant.
Fantastic. Tell me, you're a fully trained range officer, and you've been involved in quite a couple of the introduction to handguns. Also been a range officer. You actually were not. You were the media liaison at the Girls on Fire Top Shot.
Yes.
So how do you find the experience to be a range officer, especially when you have total newbies on the range, which is sometimes quite scary?
It is. Look, I enjoy the experience purely because I'm a people's person, and I instill a lot of confidence and positivity. So I take myself back to when I first started picking up a firearm, how the next person who was my range officer then would be feeling, you know. And I put myself into their shoes, and I know what you go through, the emotions that come with it, you know, anticipating that first bang, and so on, you know.
I've seen some of the ladies that we've been on the range with are very, very scared, to the point that they're in tears. Yes. And all of them in the end walk away with a smile. And I think you contribute a big time to it, because you make them feel safe.
Absolutely, and this is the importance of it all, you know. Being a range officer, it's not purely just, it's not only about the secure location and firearms only being secure. There's a lot of emotion that goes into it for the person who's handling that firearm for the very first time, you know. People come from different aspects, with a lot of emotion behind it, you know. One
of the ladies, if you remember, were actually abused, and
yes,
you could see that it was a very emotional thing for her.
It was.
And it's an empowering thing.
It's a very empowering. I think for me, that smile after that first shot, when you realize, okay,
it's all right.
It's all right.
It's not going to do, it's not a bad thing. It's a very empowering thing that happens.
Precisely.
So what is your favorite firearm, if I may ask? Or a particular one?
Look, and I'm going to be very biased because I shoot a Beretta APX. I'm in love with that weapon. Look, I've shot the Smith & Wesson, I've shot the Glock. But I am so in love with the Beretta APX. For me, it is comfortable. It's got the right grip for me, and I'm those people with those very small hands and so on. I'm quite confident behind it, and it works for me. It really works for me.
And in terms of long guns?
Oh, it has to be the AKs and your. Okay, so with I'm gonna go with a 50 BMG. I'm gonna go with a 50 BMG. I'm really gonna go. I shot that I think twice now.
Yeah.
And every time
it leaves a smile.
It leaves a big grin on my face. The world just. The world happens when you pull that trigger for me.
Yeah, no.
I love it.
It's a lovely, lovely gun. What's your thoughts on the proposed amendments that was suggested by earlier, last month? When was it? Because it feels like a lifetime
ago now. I was very upset. Because it totally, for me, spits in the face of security, especially for women.
Yes.
And for me, I think even worse now after these riots.
Yeah.
I felt, well, do you really want to go through this as a government to disarm the very people who actually you needed the assistance?
Yes, absolutely.
For me, I was upset. It makes no sense in a country where our crime statistics are so appalling. It boggles the mind.
We're sort of on the top 10 list in the world.
We are, and it makes no sense to leave your citizens unarmed or unable to defend themselves. For me, it was just an upsetting moment. It's just an upsetting proposed amendment, and I just feel we should fight it with everything we've got.
So what would your message be for potential female firearm owners in South Africa?
My message would be, go out there, find the right people to shoot with. Find the right organizations to be around. And find the right firearm for you.
Try different ones.
Do not be given one and say that's it.
Yeah.
Go out there and see if it's for you. That's important. You'll never know something is going to be good for you or not unless you actually try it. Yeah. So actually try it.
And speak to other ladies, I think, because that's important. I think usually you walk into a gun shop, which is in the past, and the first thing they want to give to you is a 38 Special revolver. Which is not a very nice gun to shoot with.
No, it's got a long trigger pull. It's just the recoil of that.
It's not a pleasant gun, and then we have 5 to 6 rounds. In South African situation, one of my clients actually talked about it and said the attackers never come in ones.
No,
so
they come in many of them.
Many of them.
Many of them. I mean, you want something, that at least 12, 15 rounds in a mag,
Yeah. And spare
mag. Please, spare mag. That's what you need.
Because in a couple of situations we've had some friends. I've had some friends, and we're going to interview them in about 2 weeks' time. That's been involved in a gunfight. Got shot himself, but did win the fight. But I think there was like 50, 60 rounds or more shot off during the gunfight. So
and
you need to be able to defend yourself.
Precisely. You can't do that with a revolver.
No,
you can't.
I've had a discussion with an American lady, which is in a very different situation than us. Most of their sheriffs say to them, please, revolvers are absolutely fine, but it's a different situation. Then she said to me, but you've got speed loaders. I don't know if you've seen, speed loaders are not so easy. You have to
You still have to change over and then throw the old ones out.
It's definitely going to take time.
Yeah.
Tell me, where do you see yourself and firearms in the future?
I see myself in the forefront of firearm ownership. I see myself, I call it fighting the good fight. I see myself encouraging other South Africans to come, join us, let us protect one another as citizens, and also protect one another as firearm owners. Yeah. So that's where I see myself. I see myself right in the forefront. I always think about myself as leading the pack. So they say if you, I think my husband says this a lot of times. He says if you throw her to the wolves, she'll come back leading that very pack. You know, and that's how I see myself. It's important for me. It's a passion, and I love this industry. It's important to me.
Tell me, you're very much part of the Girls on Fire campaign. We've got a lot of nice things planned. I think our next big thing, we were going to go down to Port Elizabeth. We're going to go down to Durban, but unfortunately lockdown have caused us some delays.
Yes, put a break on our plans.
Okay, let me just have, there's a question. How long did you process take from getting your own firearm, plus some of the highlights in the process? So how long does it take in terms of from proficiency to full competence? Maybe explain the whole process to the ladies and how long this takes.
Okay,
maybe as long as it's, how long is a piece of string? Yes. Maybe go through the whole process quickly.
Look, I mean, for me, I wasn't quite given the choice, but I had a book in front of me and I was given 2 weeks to study, and that was it. But it's the best. It's the best way to do it. Once you write that open book, go in and do the closed book.
And do your practical.
And do your practical immediately, because everything is still in
So maybe just explain to the people how this works and what process do you have to go through.
Okay, so you have to do your competency, and by that entails the open book a test, which you can do at home, and then you do the closed book test. You have to go to a reputable organization, please, that is important. And then you go and do your practical on the range, and then you have to get 85%. It's important. You have to pass, and then after that, once you get your certificates from the organization that you did your competency with, you submit it to SAPS, and then it's the long wait to freedom.
Exactly. I'll maybe go through these, maybe explain a little bit in more detail. So the basis of all proficiency training, we have knowledge of the Firearms Control Act. Yes. So you learn when and where you can do defend yourself legally. Yes. So that whole process, that's one of the, you have to do that. Yes. Then you've got other 4 basic competencies, which is basically for handgun, shotgun, self-loading rifle, and manually operated rifle. As soon as you've done that and gone through the whole process and passed your test, you get certificates and a statement of results from PFTC. Yeah. You then take this to the police station, to your closest police station, and then you
hand it into your DFO.
That is supposed to not take longer than 90 days, but it does.
It does.
It does take longer than 90 days.
I think currently it's sitting at over 150 days. Yeah.
After that, you can then purchase a firearm, or you can purchase it beforehand, but you cannot take it home, obviously. Yes. And then you then hand in your SAPS 271 with the motivation why you want the firearm. Mm-hmm. And then it can take again up to 90 days if things goes well. So it's not a short process in general. Not. And I think that's something that Gun Owners South Africa is looking at now, saying it is actually leaves our citizens
Vulnerable. It does.
Because it can take us up to 2 years for some people to actually, from the beginning of the process to the end of the process, to actually have your firearm in your hands.
home. Yeah.
So yeah.
It takes a while, and it's something people have to take cognizance of, but it doesn't mean that during that waiting period that you do absolutely nothing.
Yes.
So it's important. Purchase your firearm, and yes, it's going to stay at the gun shop, but go there and practice.
Yeah.
Practice. I cannot emphasize more about the practice and getting acquainted with your firearm. I always say my firearm is like my child. You know, I know when not to feed them and when to feed them, you know.
Yeah.
So practice, because you get more proficient in using it, and also your accuracy improves as you use it, you know. You get, once it comes home, then it becomes like your lipstick for some people, or your handbag, or, you know, whatever the case is.
So the differences between shooting handgun and long gun, I always try and talk to people. People think that the smaller the gun, the easier it is to handle, and unfortunately that's not always the case.
No.
Long guns are usually easier. So what's your experience?
I am extra proficient on a long gun. I am brilliant. It's easier. With a handgun, I'm having to practice, and practice. And it's something you can lose if you don't practice.
Yeah.
So you have to be constant about a handgun. So we always practice. You know, we always talk about, it's important. Take it out of your safe. Go to the range at least once a month.
Yeah.
It's important. It's very important, because accuracy, you know, we give the experience on the Girls on Fire introduction to handgun, where people think the smaller the gun,
it's so pretty,
it's so pretty and it's easier. No, we've all learned that it can bite a little bit, you know, and you need to know these things.
Yeah.
But equally, what can you carry on a day-to-day basis?
So that is the thing is that it's got to be small enough,
yes,
to carry, but big enough that it doesn't it's not uncomfortable to shoot.
Precisely.
I've always said there's a small gun called the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard. It's excellent small little gun.
Yes.
So usually chambered in 380 auto, and it's got a very long trigger pull. You pull the trigger, pull the trigger, pull the trigger, and then it goes off.
Yes.
And it's such a small gun, very easily concealable, but it's very unpleasant to shoot.
It's very unpleasant. So it's, yeah, I think it's, as I say, go out there, find what works for you.
Okay. I don't think there's any more questions. You also have an absolute awesome voice. Tell us a little bit about the Girls on Fire song, which will, after the end of the video, we'll play out with the song.
Well, we recorded the song with Jocelyn and Antoinette, and it was something written by Joss, and you know, it's one of those songs where it's about the spirit of a woman. Exactly. You know,
I still get the shivers when
yes.
I hear the song.
It's actually very powerful.
It's a very powerful song.
It's a very powerful song, and I was absolutely delighted that I could be part of the project. And it was fun. It was fun. It was fun to record. It was fun to work on. And because I've got a musical background, hey, why not? You know?
Well, Tshepi, thank you very much for being with us. We'll probably do this again sometime.
Yes.
And
Yes,
thank you to the viewers for watching, and we'll see each other soon. Cheers for now.
a girl on fire. I'm not a victim. On fire. I'll stand my ground. Girl on fire. I've made a choice. I'll stand proud. I'm a girl on fire. I'm a mother, a daughter, a sister, a friend. I'm every woman. I have taken up arms and I choose to defend all that I hold dear. Independent and strong, you will not keep me down. You can't break me. Girl on fire, I'm not a victim. Girl on fire, I'll stand my ground. Girl on fire, I have a choice. I stand proud. Girl on fire. Countless hours on the range, I am responsibly armed. I am your equal. I've empowered myself. I've practiced and trained. Fear won't control me. With my sisters in arms, we'll make ourselves heard. We stand together. I'm a girl on fire. I'm not a victim. I'm a girl on fire. I'll stand my ground. Girl on fire. I've made a choice. I stand proud. I'm a girl on Girls on fire, we're not victims, we're girls on fire. We'll stand our ground. Girls on fire, we've made a choice. We'll stand strong. We're girls on fire. I'm a girl